Hey, it's Miri Carbandens, and I'm happy to be back. It's been quite some time since I've been making the last video, and the reason for it was just because we were preparing to go to the Philippines, where we are now. I've done a video about that in the past. We were able to make some kind of home here on a property on the beach, and there's also plans for building mini cottages for beach cottages and bungalows for people who also want to stay in this kind of nature palm tree paradise. I'm going to stay here for another until February. I'm really curious for whatever you would like me to talk about. I cannot promise any kind of specific schedule, but I'll do my best to be up here as much as possible. What I know from the comments that you left here is you asked me how have I been, how is everything going, and especially in terms of recovery. And I'm great. I've already planned a video that I want to make on eating enough while traveling, because that's a topic that I've been facing quite a lot because I have been traveling, and the thing is, rules and rhythms and routines are broken up, and that's the beauty about traveling. And I think everyone should be able to just get rid of their eating disorder if they have one, or any eating rules, so they can just embrace traveling and everything, because they kind of seem to contradict each other, because traveling with an eating disorder is not good. I mean, it's no fun, that's for sure, but then it's also, it absolutely triggers your eating disorder much more than if you would stay at home. And I faced that. I do face my eating disorder voice much more intensely when I'm traveling, when I'm out of my comfort zone, when I'm out of my everyday life. And I think that's the case for pretty much everyone, because I don't know, it's just, that's what traveling does. It just rips you out of what you're used to and what is your normal habits, right? And that's what's so beautiful about it. But yeah, as I said, there's some kind of tension between the two, and I'm so happy to say that it doesn't get me. Like, it doesn't get to me in terms of that it would hinder my recovery. So I do think that I'm kind of in the middle of my recovery process. I mean, nobody can, like, it's very hard to say when exactly you're fully 1000% recovered. But I think that's when my eating disorder voice is just pretty much not existent anymore. But I do still have my eating disorder voice in my head, and that's very tough to go through, because the longer you are in recovery, when you're in the middle of your recovery, you're still facing your eating disorder voice, but the main thing is you're just strong enough to just do the opposite of what it says. And that's what I've become really good at. And I'm really happy to say that, because I was a little bit scared that traveling would kind of be a problem for me, because I cannot afford to go back to any of that shit, to following what the eating disorder says. And just for you to remember, the eating disorder came into my life back again, the anorexia, because I had a very, very hard time with digestion problems. I had intestinal inflammation and also parasites and worms, and I can also make videos on that if you want me to. And that's when I really couldn't eat enough, and it just kind of triggered and caused me to. There's people that are genetically made, like they're genetically prone to fall into anorexia behaviors when they're in a calorie deficit, in an energy deficit, and that's what happened to me big time. And I just now realize how long it takes. Like I've been in recovery since last October, so I need to go get some power first. So I've been in recovery since last October. So yeah, that's more than a year now, I realize. That's 1 year and 1 month, I now realize. And that's quite a long time. And I've already made videos where I told you, like, all of the symptoms that I had in my health crisis timeline. I'll link it here, or you can just go through my videos, or I'll post it under, like, in the info box. Yeah, they have been reversed very, very quickly. The hardest thing about recovering from an eating disorder is that the outward appearance tends to change much faster than your mental health. And the thing is, you need to just keep doing the opposite of what the eating disorder says. You will not neurally rewire your brain if you don't do that, without any exception. And that's the hardest part, because the eating disorder voice can be there for quite some time after starting recovery, and it's very individual how long it takes to get rid of it. But so I'm just realizing now that I'm able to travel again without falling back into the eating disorder rules again. It's much harder though to just not fall back into it. It just gets, like, the eating disorder voice gets so much louder when I'm out of my comfort zone and living such a different life with such different actions during the day. And yes, but so that's kind of an update. And the most exciting update about my recovery is that the hair loss that I had from, like, when I was not eating enough, like before I started my recovery, and it lasted so long, 4 months. It got even worse when I started to eat enough, and that's very normal when you have an eating disorder, when you're recovering from it. And you don't have to have an eating disorder. It's just a matter of, are you eating enough for what your body needs or not? So if you're in a calorie deficit for enough and for long enough, then you can have hair loss. And for most people, it's the first thing that will be lost. Like, the body will shut down all its functions when it doesn't get enough energy, and then it tends to be the first thing it will shed. Like, it will not spend any energy on anymore, and it tends to be the last thing to come back, because it's very, very delayed also. So when your body doesn't get enough energy, it will make your hair go into a rest phase. So it's not falling out immediately, but it will eventually. It can be the case that your body doesn't even have enough energy to let go of the hair, like to actually let it fall out. And that's also the reason why many people experience even more hair loss once they start recovery, once they are eating 2,500 calories plus, like, as a minimum. And just, yeah, there's no maximum. And that's exactly what happened to me. The hair loss and the regular cycle, they tend to take the longest time to be back in order again, because it's hormonally. And for me, the cycle was back quite early, but it's very, very, very regular now. And that's so good to see, because I'm also tracking my cycle, and it's just wonderful to see that my body is functioning again. It's just so exciting to see how it's functioning throughout the month, throughout the cycle, and to see how much hungrier I am in different phases. Yeah, it's just so fascinating. But back to the point, being hair loss. The hair loss stopped completely 1.5 months ago, and that's about 10.5 months into recovery, like full-blown recovery, like no compromises, no fake recovery, no pseudo recovery, just real recovery. It was such a long time, and I'm so happy to say to myself and to just know that the hair loss is gone. It's such a good feeling. So, and it lets you know that you're on the right track and that you just have to keep doing what you're doing. It's just such a confirmation, and I just wanted to get that out there for you also. I know how it is to watch recovery channels and you're wondering, well, but how, like, where exactly are they in the recovery? Are they really as fine as they pretend to be? And I just want to let you know that I am doing what I'm doing. I am doing what I say I'm doing and what I recommend in my videos. I'm just doing exactly that. And I know how hard it is when your body is changing faster than your mind is changing. And I'm exactly at that point where my mind seems to take such a long time to change. But I do have so many moments where I realize, wow, I've come a long way. Because I react differently, I think differently. I have such strong moments where I'm just thinking, wow, last time I was here, this wouldn't have been possible that I would eat this. It was just out of this world. Or yeah, where I just realize I'm doing things that I haven't done before, or I'm able to do things that I haven't been able to do before. And that's just amazing to see. And there's so many reasons to recover. I feel like a whole different person to be here back at the property. And post your questions and your ideas, topic ideas below. And please let me know if it's okay if these videos are very simple, not highly edited, if you're still willing to watch them, if they're interesting for you. So I see you next video. Bye.